there's a lot of title companies that when we go out for a quote and they know that there's subsurface interest, they'll say, we don't allow anybody else to search those subsurface. We're going to do the surface and the subsurface. We have our own internal people, our own vendors. We're not going to even tell you who they are. We have ultimate control, and all we get back is that title commitment. And those, for me, are the worst possible scenarios that I don't recommend to my client, because I have no communication with that abstractor or that land company.
You have no product. You have no rent
You have
sheet.
no product,
You have
right?
no documents.
You can't. That's right. You have none of that. And, you know, like one of the projects that Brett is working on for us right now, we have had a hiccup. And here's what happened is that project got sent to a title company. And that title company, their stance is that they'll search back a certain number of years, depending on the state. So say they said that they'll search back 110 or 150 years. And if they don't find anything, meaning subsurfacely, then they would issue a commitment without a general mineral exception. And we wouldn't have to do a subsurface search. So they said, no problem, we'll do this search. And 6 months later, they said, we found all of these minerals. It's really bad. We can't finish this. They couldn't complete it. Their abstractor, their land company, their internal person could not facilitate the job. So then we called up Trustee Dudley and said, hey, we need your help. That the title company, we actually switched title companies because that was a really big fail on that particular title company's abilities, that they couldn't even, you know, in 6 months communicate well to us that they couldn't get this project committed and give us a commitment. So we have a new title company. We hired Dudley. We made sure that now we're in control. Dudley is engaged directly by the client. They're going to be able to deliver him the product. They're also going to be able to not only be that abstractor, that searcher that title's relying on, you know, to give them all the documentation, but Dudley's able to take off their searcher hat and also put on their mitigator hat. Like, wow, we just found this document. And if right now we get this person to sign off on this and record something, this isn't an issue. Going back to how we were talking earlier about how gas and oil mitigate first before they submit to title. So Dudley's doing that for us, and we see already the difference, because that we know now why that project was so hard is because Dudley's been out there working, and they're like, oh, wow, yes, there's a very big problem on this. Now we have enough information with Dudley that we can go back to the client and say, this isn't something that title would have given them either. Title would have waited to throw the bomb on them when they finished this problem. But Dudley is saying, guys, we really do have a problem. Let's talk about it.
This is how you can fix it.
Because if you don't want to fix it, let's cut this piece of property off now, or let's let you know this black hole is there, or let's try to do what we can to fix it now. We wouldn't have had those conversations with the title company. So Dudley, in the case that he's working for renewable energy, in this particular case with this client, he's actually wearing two hats. There's two lanes of revenue for him on a search aspect that he's delivering that search to the title company. And he's going to help mitigate whatever is necessary that the client can't handle, or the client needs advice on, or the client needs guidance on. There's a variable of those services. Like, hey, what would you do? There's a lot of clients that want to take that, you know, personal approach. Like, I don't want you guys to talk to my landowner. His brother will be upset. But Dudley can prepare that surface waiver and explain what the client needs to say to that landowner and help get that mitigated. So there's a huge amount of cooperation now that is going on to mitigate this title, just by the virtue of that we're using Dudley, that we're using a land company instead of letting title control the game.
Yeah.
And it changes the whole financial and risk, perspective from the title on that project.